Hi, my name's Eve. So I'm part of the Promo Mentors team, and each week we're looking for promising projects. And this week we are with Frederica, that's how you pronounce it, who created SteemPress along with Martin, with Ho. So tell me a little bit about your background, Frederica. Where were you born and what do you do now? Where are you now?
Yeah, so I'm from Norway. I've lived most of my life in Norway, where I grew up on the southwest coast in Stavanger. So more people think it's far north, but for us it felt more like south because you're on the rainy southern coast. And I'm 27 years old, and I've moved 2 years ago to Paris to take up a job here that most of the Steemians will know me best for, because it's what I originally started blogging about. And excited to also be a Steemian now.
Great. So you actually work at the European Space Agency, correct?
Yes, that's what I moved to Paris for. It was sort of a dream opportunity that I just had to jump at when I got it. I mean, more about my background. I have a business and economics education, but I knew quite early on actually that I wanted to do something that was more focused towards technology and science. And cosmology, space exploration, human spaceflight were sort of the things that really caught my attention and got me passionate and got me wanting to learn more things. So in 2012, actually, between my bachelor's and my master's, I got to go to the United States, where I lived in Florida and got to be at the NASA Kennedy Space Center there as a part of the International Space University. So that was my first sort of step into the space world. And then I knew I wanted to work with space, just was about finding the opportunity. So when the European Space Agency had a young graduate trainee position, which is the typical entry point for a young person wanting to get into the space agency, where the tasks and the work were sort of down my alley in terms of what types of expertise they were looking for, I just applied, and here I am.
Excellent. And what exactly is your role now? You're not an intern anymore.
Actually, I am still a so-called young graduate trainee, which is not an intern. Intern is a student or someone who comes for a few months. A young graduate trainee is I'm on a 2-year contract, and it's actually not that many months left of that contract. So I'm in my later stages of it. And I'm working mostly with innovation, knowledge management, and downstream applications, which is basically in the space scene. You imagine when I say space, you might imagine astronauts, rockets going far into space. But we also have a tremendous amount of infrastructure that do things down on Earth, like satellites for communications, for navigation, and also a lot in Earth observation, imaging satellites taking pictures of the Earth all the time, and gives us a tremendous amount of data that's useful for many things. The challenge, of course, is that many of the industries on Earth that could benefit from these satellites don't know very much about it. So there are a lot of work being done to make sure that the potential users of these satellite services are aware of what they have available and are able to also make full use of what the taxpayers, for the most part, have taken part in investing in. So my main focus is to foster knowledge transfer in Europe between organizations that may have nothing to do with space at all, about how they use these things successfully. And more specifically, my task or my project that I've taken ownership over the last year was within public safety and search and rescue and emergency response. How can we do so that if there's an earthquake and a whole city in Italy, for instance, there was a terrible earthquake there not too long ago, how can we make sure that all the rescuers on the ground, all the ambulances, all the police, whoever is the first responders, can get access to the best, most high-resolution satellite images as soon as possible after such a disaster? This is a big challenge in terms of how this data finds its way into their hands. So questions like that is what I've been working on primarily.
Yeah, very interesting. Excellent. And when did you first get into cryptocurrency?
A little bit over a year ago, actually. I think.
Oh, recent.
I saw a notification here that I had my 1-year Steem anniversary a few weeks ago, or 2 weeks ago maybe. So
Okay.
I think in the mid-May last year. Although I wouldn't say that was when I got introduced to crypto. I was familiar with Bitcoin for many years, but I never really got excited about Bitcoin. It was only when Ethereum really started taking off and I started reading up about what smart contracts could do that it just got my mind firing all right, left, and center of all the things you can do when it's not just quick, frictionless, almost instantaneous free transaction between countries, but you can also have smart contracts and applications where people who do certain tasks get certain rewards in a clever way that is, agreed upon. So that was what really got me excited. So then I just started researching all kinds of other altcoins, and you just go further and further down the rabbit hole.
Okay, so Steem, you knew about Steem about a year ago then, when you opened your Steemit account.
Yes.
Okay, and how did you meet Martin?
Yeah, that's a funny thing. So when I first started out on Steem, I mean, I was researching all of these coins, and I came across Steem. Some people might find this amusing, but my first time hearing about Steem was actually watching a video by Jerry Banfield, who I'm sure people might know very well and perhaps hate. But anyway, because I was just trying to get an overview of all these coins and watching what are people talking about on YouTube, and I was just watching all these guys, and even though you don't want to take their words for everything, but you know that a lot of people still listen to these people, so you're interested in hearing what they have to say. And so I got introduced to Steem that way. And when I saw that, well, it was a cryptocurrency for blogging, I had been trying to set up a few websites in the past, but could never really bother because you work, you have a lot of projects, you feel that maybe you'll invest a lot of time without anyone ever bothering visiting your website or reading any of your stuff. But Steem, I saw that, well, I'm learning all this crypto stuff, and if I want, there's no better way to learn than by doing. So I thought, all right, here I can do a few things at the same time. I can start learning crypto by having an account and trying to make transactions and trying to earn some and see what's up. And at the same time, I can do what I really wanted to do for a long time, which is to just share my ideas about what's going on in the space sector, about some things in politics, about innovation and philosophy and areas where I always have things that I like to talk with people about and I would love to share. And so it happens that I started blogging about what I was doing in the space sector. And then I got a direct message from this guy on Steemit chat who basically said, "Hi, I'm a student here in Paris. I see that you are at ESA in Paris. I also really would like to do some of the stuff that you're doing. Do you have any tips for a student that wants to get into space or want to work with ESA or something like that? Or maybe you would just want to meet up for a beer." And I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. Why not? And so it was initially, not at all about ideas for anything. Just, hey, we're two Steemians in Paris. Why not get to know one another? So we basically met up just for a few drinks that turned out to be very many drinks after work in the midweek. And yeah, from there we just things went on.
Excellent. And when did you realize that there were big possibilities within the Steem blockchain?
Well, I guess I was a bit of a lucky person because even my introduction post, without me having known anyone beforehand and without trying to promote myself or without doing anything at all really other than writing what I thought was a really good introduction post, I think I got about 1,100 views, earned 350 Steem dollars or something of that sort.
Wow.
And had 200 comments. So I just realized that, well, there's a big space of people out there desperate to try monetize their writings or gain traction. And what I just did there, even though I might have been, relatively lucky, is kind of unheard of on any other platform. So that in of itself, you can say what you want about Steemit, but that right there was something they were able to provide to people that others just can't or don't do to the same extent. So that's the first thing, and I'm like, okay, we can actually, this has power. But there was one thing that's perhaps even more significant to me, which is the underlying idea that by making all people who choose to engage in this blockchain a small stakeholder in the system, they are incentivized to help you succeed. And before joining ESA, I worked a lot with startups in Norway and helped set up a student incubator where student entrepreneurs with ideas can come and develop whatever they have as an idea for a new business. And what we tell people is like, get out of the building, start testing your ideas against potential users, get feedback, then iterate quickly and adopt and learn and produce products based on the feedback you get. And what I've seen on Steem is that it's just so incredible how you can just, if you have an idea, instead of sitting down and spending hundreds of hours developing it and maybe a lot of money on development, you can just launch the idea to people on a trending page, see if it sticks, and if it sticks, then you've already earned perhaps a few $100 to fund yourself to develop, and also you'll have a lot of people wanting you to succeed, so they'll give you feedback, they'll test it out, they'll do small things for you. And this is, to me, sort of the value that Steem has that I haven't seen other blockchains have in enabling entrepreneurs to succeed. And that for me is the most powerful thing. And I think that with smart media tokens, it would be perhaps the single biggest reason why Steem could be a success.
Mm-hmm. All right. And besides SteemPress, do you have any other projects with Martin?
Actually, this is kind of funny because when we had so many ideas together about stuff we would like to do potentially, and many of these ideas have been coming together in a grand master plan, quote unquote. And SteemPress, or the idea of a WordPress plugin, was actually intended to just be a tiny bit of piece of a bigger jigsaw. It just so happened that when we made a minimal viable product, as we call it, a small version that people can use and see if they like, the feedback we got was so tremendously positive, and the need so clearly expressed, that it's just where we put all of our focus. We did actually do one project before Christmas based on an idea that I had, that we could, because I wrote a piece that got a lot of views and a lot of comments when I said that I had just bought 50 Steem for my younger brother as a Christmas present, and why other people should do the same. And so I came up with the idea that it would be cool if we could have a website that lets people buy a Christmas card that they can then make into a paper wallet. For the people that are into crypto, they know that you can buy this paper wallet for Bitcoin or Litecoin. That's basically just a paper sheet with a private key on it. Mm-hmm. And so we thought, well, we can set up a Steem account for people where they can store whatever money they want to give people as a gift, and we'll let artists on Steemit create great Christmas cards that people can then buy, and it comes with Steem on them. And so we made this, and I think 2 people or something will download it. But for me, it was more about just trying out something cool. Maybe we'll launch it again for next season. Who knows? But it was another thing that we did, and it works. But when we then had the idea for SteemPress shortly after the new year, we haven't done anything about it since.
All right. Yeah, that's a nice idea. I think I saw you posted something on Steepshot about that, on Christmas.
Yeah, true. I actually ended up I used that service to print my brother a card. So he got that in a nice blue box, and he had no idea what it was. He's used to getting like pranks from me, where I buy him something he likes but stuff it in a big box, and he doesn't understand what it is until he is digged far into the box. So he just took this up and looked around and tried to find something clever. Turned out it was just that.
And did he start
but
blogging?
It was actually more valuable than anything I bought him in the past. So he was happy.
Great. So he's blogging now. He's using Steemit.
No, not at all. I don't think he would want to be a blogger. But that was sort of the story I wanted to send with my gift card idea. Is that people often say they haven't tried to invite people to Steem because they wouldn't want to be bloggers. But to me, that's kind of like saying I wouldn't want my mother to buy stock in Tesla 5 years ago because she doesn't like cars that much. Well, I'm sorry, but if the stock went up 10 times, why wouldn't she want to have that? Or
exactly.
Why wouldn't you want to be an early investor in Facebook just because you don't like social media that much? It's kind of the same with Steem. You shouldn't have to want to be a blogger, and as we're seeing, it's developing, luckily I think, into more of a community token that then can be influenced in many websites that have nothing to do with Steemit, and hopefully that will continue.
True. And okay, can you please describe SteemPress to someone who has never heard of Steemit? How would you describe it?
Yeah, so I've actually had to try this many times now, and I'm trying to regress further and further back to the simplest, most basic way. And I think the simplest way I've said so far is just it lets anyone with a WordPress blog use blockchain technology.
Okay.
And I just take it for, and then people can make of that what they want. And if they say, well, okay, what's so the Steem blockchain, yeah, okay, but then I take it for granted that Steem is the blockchain you want to use if you're a blogger, because it's the #1 content blockchain. Now, what it does is that it enables people to share their content on a blockchain that can help them gain rewards whilst also helping them reach new communities through a variety of front ends. Now, what I've noticed, or what I believe anyway, is that even though most people still don't understand a lot about cryptocurrency or blockchain, almost everyone has today heard two things. One, there's a lot of innovation around blockchain. I mean, every company thinks they need a blockchain strategy, even though no one in the board meeting knows what a blockchain really does. And two, there's a lot of people that have gone rich on cryptocurrencies. These are sort of the two buzzwords you've heard. Blockchain this and that in innovation, and cryptocurrency this and that gets people rich. So if I'm saying you can earn cryptocurrency and you can use blockchain innovation, it's sort of like, okay, that's good. I want to try. So, just get that as the first idea, and then people can make of it what they want. But what SteemPress does is that it takes your content and automatically posts it and converts it to a blockchain where you can earn tokens and reach new communities.
Okay, and when did you first start thinking about SteemPress?
So I think it was initially Marta who was wanting to build a WordPress plugin, because we had been talking about many different front websites we wanted to build that would use Steem but not have anything to do with what people associate with Steemit or blogging at all. I mean, I would like to have a website that's like most of the online education platforms you find today, where people are incentivized to help answer the questions for other students and participate in progressive discussions and earn rewards. So we were thinking about all of these different sites we wanted to build, and I think he, whilst imagining all of these possibilities, was thinking, well, it would be nice to just base it on WordPress and then cross-post it to the Steem blockchain. So that's how I'll give him the credit for the initial idea. But since then, we've been building a lot on top of that in terms of what more than just a bit of cross-posting will SteemPress be in the end, because we want it to be more than just posting to the blockchain. We want to also have it as a full WordPress plus Steem integration, so that you can bring also at some point, hopefully this year, comments, upvotes, login, wallet, all of that to your blog if you want to. So if I come across a blog on anywhere on the web that's using WordPress and a SteemPress installed, if the host wants, he can display comments that also is linked with Steemit, and have an upvote button that people can see that he's earning money, even though they might not get it first what kind of money, and that there will be kind of like Quora, where it says login with Steem, and so anyone with a Steem account can log in directly on the blog and upload it there or comment there, and it will be synergized 2 ways with the conversations on Steem or other front ends that deliver Steem.
Okay, great. And tell me a little bit about the development. Did you encounter any obstacles or not?
Well, he's a better person to answer than I am. I'm not the developer on the team, but I think the one that we've had the most questions about had to do with people having the fear that if they cross-post simultaneously to the blockchain, their content will appear on Steemit, which has a very high Alexa rating, and so that Google will judge that Steemit is the original source and you're the copycat, or the small fish. So we had to come up with different ideas for how we could make sure that doesn't hurt our users, and try to see if we could implement canonical links so that Google will recognize your link as the original link and exclude Steemit. But right now we have 2 features that can help you with that completely, if that's a concern for you. One is just delay posting to Steemit. So if you post first to your WordPress account, you can schedule when it will be posted to Steemit at any time you like. So it can be a day later or a whole week later, which will then let Google find it on your site first. And secondly, you can only, if you want, post an introduction to your post on Steemit, so that on Steemit the users will find your article more or less the same way they would find an article on a website with a paywall, where instead of saying pay $5 to continue reading, it says continue reading on my blog, and so it doesn't copy the whole content.
Okay. Perfect.
So I think that was like the one that had us, thinking the most, and where our users have demanded the most from us.
And I'm sorry if this is a stupid question. I'm not a very techy person, but can it also happen the other way around, that on Steemit someone might think it's plagiarism because it exists on another blog?
Yeah, this is also a very common question that we get, and so we're working very closely and have very close communication link with Steem cleaners to make sure that there isn't a problem with the legitimate users, so that if you post it on your blog and at the same time on Steemit, well, first of all, if you are going to use this continuously and just for your convenience, you can verify your blog either at Steem cleaners or just on your blog, just like you would have references to your Twitter or your Facebook to your Steemit, so that it's clear it's the same owner. But we do, of course, have a lot of people that try, especially now when we have a delegation that allows us to reward our users and tip our users, who try to spam us with the stolen articles through their website that have been taken from somewhere else. So fighting plagiarism is our biggest, not fighting plagiarism, but avoiding rewarding plagiarism is one of our highest priorities. But for our real users, it's not a problem. And we come also with a feature where even if you post a full article, you can add a footer that links back to your original article, which makes it easy for people to see that, well, this is the person who wrote that article. That's the same.
All right. Have you learned anything, any advice that you can give to someone who wants to create a DApp?
Do you want to create a DApp?
Yes, on Steem.
Yeah. I actually think I already gave you very early in the interview the answer, which is don't sit and develop too much on your own. Launch the idea with the community first, because there will be many bad ideas for dApps, a lot of really, really bad ideas. And I think the best advice to startups is, don't love your solution, love the problem that you want to solve. So find out with the community, what is it that the community is feels that lacks in the current Steem ecosystem? What is it that people find annoying to deal with right now, and see if you can solve that problem. And if you think you have a solution, well, again, don't sit and develop the whole thing until you in your head think it's perfect. Just describe what it is that you think you're doing. Because what's so beautiful about Steemit is that if you have the idea first, you can get rewarded in a couple of ways. One, when you make the post, people can upvote you and you get financially rewarded that way. Secondly, you get to confirm that there's actually people wanting to support or wanting to use your DApp or your idea. And you get to contribute to the growth of the blockchain in which you hopefully own a stake. And that's a good thing too. So, and everyone is incentivized to help other people succeed. So for DApp owners, find the problem first, then launch your idea, then get to work.
Okay, thanks. And what has been the response so far from the Steemit community and the WordPress communities with regards to SteemPress?
So far the response from the Steem community has been massively positive. I mean, we're a bit, we're feeling pressure to deliver now because people are saying that, wow, this is what's going to take Steem to the moon, or this is what's going to make us attract millions of people, and that's very cool. It's very fun. And we already have a quite vibrant Discord of people that are coming on to talk SteemPress and to share tips and tricks for how they're setting up their blogs and things like that. So that's really cool. As for WordPress, well, we haven't had that much yet because so far step one in our little roadmap is to deliver this to Steemians who are the first users, and to use them for what it's worth to test the plugin, because we still, of course, observe that there are things we need to improve, that there are things that we need to adjust. But you find these things not by sitting and developing on your own without interaction with your users. You find these things by involving users who are willing to tell you what they think and can give you feedback and can help you learn. This is why it's so important when you're a startup company or anything that wants to introduce a new product to work closely with your customer. And that's why Steemians are the perfect first adopters, because they want you to succeed, because they have a stake in the blockchain that you're helping give value to. So yeah, that's who we've been working with mostly. I mean, I've introduced this to a handful of WordPress users, and most of them are willing to try it out, but they still find it alien, although they all create an account and then start earning. So the question is just, how can we bring more Steem features to their front end, or to their WordPress plugin, so that they can have a more full experience of Steem right there. But we have a few people that have come and now watches their Steemit page a bit more regularly. That's good.
Oh, that's great. And any reactions from your family or your friends?
Well, they still find this pretty alien. But they know that I've been wanting to build things and have had ideas, so they're just happy that I now have something that sticks, that people want, that seems to fly. So, as for my parents, well, they had to listen to me almost wanting to drop out of my master's at the last year because I wanted to go ahead with a startup idea. But so I think if they find it more reassuring to see me do it now rather than then. So if this no, but they are all aware. Thinks this is really cool, and but they don't have enough insight into it to really have a strong opinion.
Yeah, I understand. And so I was going to ask you, what are you currently working on SteemPress, but I think you already partly answered that question. You said you're talking to Steem cleaners, and you're just you're seeing how the first users are interacting with it.
Yeah, so we have a 3-step roadmap that we've been presenting to some of the people that we've been collaborating with. First step is to produce and provide a cross-posting service that makes it as convenient as possible to post from WordPress to Steem. we are more or less done there, although there will always be bits and pieces you can improve, but that's the first crucial step. Second step is something that we'll be announcing more publicly very soon, is that we've been working also very hard to provide an infrastructure around SteemPress to help new users connect with the right communities on Steem. So that if you are a new WordPress user who likes to post about science, then the community is interested in science and Steemit should understand if you come across through SteemPress. Because if you just start blogging from your blog, what's the value of having an account that, even though it gets a few SteemPress uploads, just posts with no comments and no engagement or anything? And also like a platform that, so what we will be releasing is actually a new search web page where anyone can go and log in and search content based on criteria that they choose, like reputation or by different tags and reputation at the same time, different post payouts, different time frames. And we're also, if you're logged in, you can start creating your own blacklists and whitelists, and so that you, and favorites. And so we hope that that can be a cool new option for people that want better content discovery and browsing features on Steemit, whilst also they'll have the option to browse only SteemPress content. So it will be a new way for people to find the content that we bring in. And then the third step, well, I've already described that, is the full integration back and forth between the two. So these are the things that we're working on, but right now we have our hands full. I mean, I've been working 6 to 8 hours a day on top of my full-time job, just since over the last week or two, to handle all of our new users that are coming in, and working to improve how we curate content and how we collaborate with communities, because I'm getting maybe 5 to 10 different direct messages from communities that also want to work with us, or from people that want to do something with SteemPress, which is a very good way. I would rather be too busy than not to have people being interested.
Definitely. And so where do you see SteemPress in the long term? What's your long-term goal?
The mission statement, or rather the vision that I've laid out, is to see WordPress users everywhere be empowered by the Steem blockchain to monetize content and to reach new audiences. And the mission statement that I've set is to see the best of WordPress content on the Steem blockchain and the best of Steem features on websites all over the web. And so that's the ambition, and that's what we are hoping to get to, because we see that Steem as a technology, more than just a website and Steemit, is something that can be empowering for so many websites. And whether it be just with the Steem blockchain alone, using SteemPress, but also with SMTs as that comes along, I think we'll have a lot of tools to play with and a lot of ways to help people.
All right. Those were my questions for today. Is there anything else you want to add or tell people?
Well, I mean, of course, I would like to invite anyone who's interested in SteemPress to find a plugin in the WordPress store and download it and give it a shot. Come to our Discord. You'll find it if you go to Steemit, and the account is SteemPress, one word, -io. And you can see links to our Discord, or where you can communicate with me or with Hovo. And yeah, I'm just excited to see that Steemians like to take part in seeing communities grow. And by the way, that's another reason why I think Steem is such a great chain, is that everyone is benefiting from other people succeeding. We succeed if Utopian succeeds, we succeed if DTube succeeds, because we all want people to attract more people to the Steem blockchain and to bring more investors also into the Steem blockchain. So it's a collaborative effort, even if it doesn't feel like that all the time.
True, win-win. Okay, thank you, Frederick. Thank you very much for being here so late. I know you're really busy with your long days. And yes, look forward to seeing how it develops.
My pleasure.
Bye.
Bye.